I appreciate the time, so I'm going to try to make it as valuable as possible in fitting in what Trade Ideas is all about and how we approach the market and enable really our subscribers and individual self-directed investors to navigate the markets that we're in and to use information advantages that we produce to get on equal footing with larger, more capitalized entities that are in the market and succeed. So by way of kind of outlining what my time with you will be, I want to present you with an overview of the market and how we see it, because we're a financial fintech company that's been around for 14 years, and we are pushing the envelope in innovation, especially over the last 2 years with our launch of a machine learning artificial intelligence that now is the sole producer of, well, not the sole producer, but contributes greatly to the ideas we produce and the actionable intelligence that we're producing for our subscribers. And it's best to kind of describe with a large lens, the trends that we're riding that have led to this innovation. And then I'll go into the actual tool itself to kind of demonstrate what this machine learning looks like, and then leave you with a discount if you're interested in learning more about Trade Ideas, because we do provide this as a service. This is AI as a service, and you'll come to realize just how unique that is in the marketplace. So that's the roadmap, and I'll start with really one of our competitors. We have lots of competitors that are spending money and capital and resources, intense amounts, trying to do what we do, and that is navigate the markets with artificial intelligence that attempts to learn and choose the right stocks at the right time. Although ours is not a timing technology, we present ideas that are meant to last that have a longer than an instantaneous kind of have to be in there at the time we present the signal. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But one of our competitors is BlackRock. And it's important to note that of our competitors that we are aligned or that we have on our radar, many of our competitors don't provide their service, don't provide their technology as a service. Instead, they provide it to their fund investors, like BlackRock, like Point72, which is associated with Steve Cohen, and Renaissance Technologies and the like. So what Larry Fink says is that the rules have changed. And the reason why the rules have changed in the market and it's changing the structure is that data is now available everywhere. There's a democratization of this data. And with so much data around, the tools for making decisions have got to change. You cannot, with so much data available and insight that can be received from the data, we've got to change the tools. And by necessity, all of that data that's around can't be just singled down and interpreted in a chart, assuming you find the right chart. The new tools like artificial intelligence, given the big data that we're awash in, and other factoring and models and quant have got to be used instead of the traditional way of looking at the markets. It's just a realization. And this is the wave that we're riding. You've got active management, which is ceding ground to passive management, right? And last year, this trend was very pronounced. And that trend was the liquidation and the shutting down of several large, high-profile hedge funds. Now, that trend has slowed a bit, although there have been some high-profile ones that have closed shop. But last year was a strong trend that we're still riding of hedge funds that are closing, who are more of the traditional kind that cannot react to the way the markets are today, which I would argue are very range-bound, low volatility. We seem to be floating upwards in this market. And I'll show you an example of just what I mean about how our strategy can adapt to this market in a bit. But this is where we are. And it's all meant to say, as my title of my presentation indicated, we now live in a human and Holly market. Holly is the name of our artificial intelligence. And this issue of, or the trend, as I mentioned, of all this data that's available lends people to think that, yeah, we're awash in it, but how do I get insights out of all this data? I could be looking at all sorts of data sets. And in fact, many large capitalized funds look at non-structured data and make it structured. What do I mean? Non-structured data is like outside the ones and zeros of the market data, social media, satellite tracking of supply chains, crowdsourced information from our earnings estimates outside of the Wall Street analysts and the like. All these unique and very interesting data sets, as well as the amount of information that's being produced by the market in terms of volume and technicals and the fundamentals. You can often feel that with all this data, what should I look at? What should I be weighting? What should I be considering more in my consideration? Or am I just using my gut and looking at a chart? That is where a lot of our subscribers, before they come to Trade Ideas, feel they're in this information desert, right? So let me take a step back, and well, I don't mean to read this out loud, but Trade Ideas is, we are not investment advisors. We are simply the producers of analytics that are able to look into the market, combining all these different silos of data into one view of the market that our system uses to create several algorithms, not just one, but a regime of algorithms that look at the market and find opportunities. And these are not necessarily, as an advisor, would be tied to a specific person. They're tied to performance hypotheses. They're tied to mean reversion strategies or momentum strategies, and that's classifying these algorithms. And each of them have different elements to them within those broader categories. And we publish this regime of algorithms daily, and our subscribers receive this information. They understand all the performance, the historical performance of every algorithm that we produce, and then that provides the context for every idea that gets generated, if one is generated from that algorithm on that day. Then the next day we repeat. But this helps in that what we call our artificial intelligence, we often call it a virtual analyst. This analyst is condensing all this information into tested algorithms that it has created and optimized, and then presents these ideas to our subscribers as they happen. That is an enormous amount of time that is reduced in terms of researching and finding ideas. That's what we would like to say. We don't chase after ideas. For our subscribers, the ideas come to them and they interview them, or they do the evaluation of them, much like a candidate for a job, until the right one appears. Okay. What's the result of all this machine learning and artificial intelligence since we've launched it? We had a year of performance. We launched the technology in January of 2016. We're at the cusp of the end of 2 years worth of data. The chart that I'm showing you is the results of, it's a portfolio of all the calls that Holly, our AI, machine learning AI system, has generated year to date in 2017. So from January until the end of September, looking at every idea that the system produced and tracking that idea, the return is 30%. And it's edged higher since we've stepped into October and November. But I have this data as of the end of Q3. And this portfolio of ideas has returned 30% versus the S&P at 13, versus the NASDAQ composite of 20, and even the Russell 2000, which was at 9%. So this stands in stark contrast to a lot of our competitors. And I haven't heard much since, but I know that the first 3 months of this year, 2017, BlackRock lost $500 million doing what we're doing the same process that we're doing, of the robo selection of specific equities in the capital markets. Now, I have no doubt that they'll eventually get it right. They have the capital, they have the PhDs, they have the effort and resources to do that. I raise it because it's an underlying, I want to underline again that this is hard work. And it takes a massive amount of analysis and of big data to crunch and produce algorithms tied to what the current market looks like, and then presenting that to our customers in a digestible format. This is the portfolio of ideas up to the end of Q3. Another way of also looking at this is that in addition to the daily ideas we produce from the algorithms, and this is the first freebie I want to give to everyone who is attending and listening, is we have a trade of the week. So right now, if you go to www.trade-ideas.com, you can receive in your inbox every Monday, you give us your email, we give you a trade of the week. And this is an idea that combines really man and machine, in that the AI produces a list of candidates, and then we have our team of data scientists who look at the list and kind of do a quick kind of debate as to which is the idea that they want to present as our trade of the week. It gets selected, and we write in the article, in the email, all the parameters to help you make the trade. What's the entry price? When is this live? What's the profit target? What's the stop loss if this goes wrong? What's the profit target to assess the first indication of what you should do if the trade is successful? Should you add to the position? You make the call later to harvest, to say that if this has reached its peak. We also have certain guidelines, again, as to related to the stop loss or related to when a profitable position should be harvested. If it retraces 20%, this is when you should start getting out. All that's laid out in the email. And this is the result. This is a bit of an eye chart, and this only has actually the first half of the year. I have to update this for the latter half when we conclude the year. But there's a definite trend and takeaway. Even if you can't read the individual names, I'll mention a few though. The skyscraper here is Weight Watchers, which was a call made in February, and again, various other trades of the week and how they've performed. A takeaway, one of the key takeaways is you'll note that there's a lot of winners, and where there are losses, the losses are kept small. And when you think about what we're trying to do with all this technology to make it relevant for the self-directed investor, is we're trying to land in 3 of 4 outcomes, which are the best outcomes to have when you're engaging in the markets, right? Out of 4, the outcomes that you can anticipate are a small loss or a big loss, and conversely, a small win or a big win. It's actually a sense of optimism I always have when I engage in the markets, to say that, hey, I've got 3 out of 4. I'm shooting for 3 out of the 4 landing places. I don't mind small losses, as long as I keep them small. I don't mind small wins. Those are great. I love big wins. The only thing I'm really trying to avoid is the 1 in 4 chance that I get a big loss. And I can control that if I have the right risk management. Thanks to Holly, I know what those risk management parameters are. I can keep these losses small. So good for me. I've already got the wind on my back if I've got, only a 1 in 4 chance of really messing this up and having a big loss. Otherwise, I'm going for a small loss so I can live to see another day, a small win or a big win. Okay, and that's what this chart shows. We're keeping the losses small, and we're keeping the wins, giving the wins every chance to succeed. I want to bring up a particular situation that actually happened. One of our advisors spotted this, captured this. It's actually, this is not a rare occurrence. This actually happens with some frequency, but he was able to encapsulate this in an excellent, this is the picture that's worth 1,000 words. And suddenly I'm diving into the technology to show you a screenshot of what the artificial intelligence looks like. This is a preview of what I'll show in a moment. What you're seeing is the chart that's on the upper left quadrant is simply a 15-minute chart of the, 15-minute chart of the SPY. This is the tracking ETF of the S&P 500. And what this chart says is that on, I think this was Friday of last week, on November 10th, that the beginning half of the shade, the first column that's orange here, is a pre-market, then we stepped into the market. And up until about noon Eastern time, the SPY was in a very tight range of 60 cents from 9:30 to 12 p.m. And during that time, over the 60-cent very tight range in the SPY, the alpha capture, the amount of return captured by the artificial intelligence, was $2.50. So almost more than 4 times the amount of the range of the SPY was captured by the AI, which is to say that what our technology is finding, what Holly is able to uncover in the markets, are opportunities that you wouldn't otherwise see if you were just looking top line from the markets and trying to find ideas on your own. And in an environment in which the range is tight, which is what we've seen in this market over and over on many days, the artificial intelligence is at work trying to find alpha return, essentially, larger than the range from all over the market, from different sectors and from particular ideas that come out of the algorithms that it's produced overnight. And as a preview, what you see on the right-hand side is, in this case, a graphical indication of what the performance of the AI is on this particular day, until 12 noon. It was having a great day. In a moment, I'll show you what we're doing today. But on this day, it captured, as our advisor said, $2.50. This was $2.51. And moving over, the list that you see here to the right of that P&L chart is the list of algorithms that were produced for that day overnight and optimized. Now, in this case, there were 6. There were 8 algorithms, and you'll note that 6 of them were long and 2 were short. And previous to today, they have a win percentage. So the analysis that the AI was able to do was it tweaked the individual settings of these algorithms, and we have names for each one of them: float on, quarterback. Each of these are evaluated overnight, and the parameters of that algorithm are tweaked, changed. Some new indicators are added, some are taken off, but they follow the general theme of what float on and quarterback are meant to show. And there's over 45 of these. But every night, the AI reduces that list of 45 to, in this case, a list of 8. And tomorrow or today, there may be 7 or 9, but it's a handful. And it says these are the algorithms that are best in tune with the market, according to a 12-point criteria that this overnight process that we call the quantitative combine yields. And these are the win rates of every idea that comes through this algorithm previous to the day's trading. And then you have the win percentage for today, right? Some perform well, some don't. And you have the number of trades that each of these algorithms has produced up until 12 o'clock Eastern on November the 10th. And you'll note that not all the algorithms are producing ideas. In this case, up until noon, there were 6, 10, 13 ideas produced, right? And those particular trades are found in the lower left-hand quadrant here, where we have the entry and exit time of each idea. A lot of these ideas are, actually all of these ideas are intraday. And let me take a moment to premise this. The intraday trades that Holly makes are always closed at the end of the day. Either they have a time stop that is maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3, but they all close at the end of the day. And the reason why goes back to the portfolio that I was mentioning, the results here, this 30%. We manage the simulated portfolio of Holly's ideas so that they close out each day, but that's not necessarily what our subscribers do with these ideas. We close the position because we want to task the AI with the ability to add to the performance or subtract from it on a daily basis. And we don't want to present our portfolio as we've had a 30% return, but you know what? 80% of this return was from holding Home Depot or Microsoft for 6 months. Instead, we demand that the AI produce and add to or subtract to the performance on a daily basis. But that's not necessarily what our customers or what our subscribers do. Especially, and the reason why, because given the trade parameters, given the entry price, and given the profit target and the stop loss, these ideas can carry over to the next day. And I'll show in a moment other ways that you can take ideas from Holly's performance yesterday or historically from previous days and begin to understand, to say an idea that Holly's produced yesterday may still have value today. How can I manage those ideas, and how can I be alerted when I should enter those ideas from yesterday the following day? But getting back to this explanation, we provide all the data relevant to how the idea performed. So the symbol, the list price, the entry and exit price, what the profit was on various from various perspectives. And what was the reason why, when the exit occurred, what was the reason? It either reached its time in position as an exit, or it provided a little bit more logic to say that rather than let a profit turn into a loss, sometimes at the apex of where it thinks a profit is going to occur, it'll say profit save, and it will exit the trade when it thinks it may start to decline. Reducing risk is another way of saying the position is not going well and it's reaching its stop loss. All right, so that's a preview. I'll kind of go over this slide very quickly. This is the 100,000. This is the 40,000 feet view of what we're doing overnight. What Holly and the machine learning AI is doing. We're taking all these data feeds, as I mentioned, across different silos: technicals, fundamentals, social media, and we're using that to create. We take all that data and we benchmark it. We create studies and derived data from all that information. And those derived data points are fed into what we call base strategies like quarterback and float on that have a premise that say, what are 52-week, what are stock, as an example, what are stocks that are hitting 52-week highs with higher than usual option volume and lower than usual social media mention? What does that universe of stock look like and how is it performing? That's a base strategy that the algorithm, that Holly will then take and say, well, if we add a volume component of higher than usual volume, the result actually improves. Great. If it adds an indicator and it doesn't improve the result, then it gets rid of it. Or if it can change the value of existing parameters, like a 52-week high, let's say it's a 53-week high or a 49-week high, then it will do so until it finds the most optimal result in terms of a strategy and the trading plan. So perhaps it's also more important to hold this idea for the entire day, or to hold it for 3 hours, or hold it just in the morning or just in the afternoon. All that is also factored in, and that's part of the trade plan optimization. And the result is the daily regime of algorithms, 8, sometimes 6, sometimes 10, that it will produce. And it will also produce each day, or you have access to each day, the historical AI ideas that may be susceptible to some residual follow-through, which is how we design each of the algorithms. Then you can add your own custom preferences for market cap, per sector. You can add your own symbol list and say, I don't just want to look at what Holly's ideas are. I want to see my ideas as interpreted by trade ideas and analytics. All this also comes again with the risk assessment that allows you to capture alpha with an information advantage. That's the mission of trade ideas. And that is our definition of actionable intelligence. And the beauty of this is that these algorithms offer this continual learning. It'll look through each day's results and it'll select a new batch of algorithms that are ascending and get rid of the ones that are descending, that are waning away from the market, because we know the market's always adapting and so forth. Okay. And again, this is from one of our partners and someone in my network who basically laid the line and said, the new way of interacting with the market is using artificial intelligence. This will be, and we will come to understand in 4, 2, 3 years, in 2018, this will even be the case, is that everyone's approach to the market, everyone's engagement in the market will need to require some aspect of AI as a virtual analyst, as in some fashion or another. And it will become as second nature to us as using a chart to make a trade decision. You will be referring to a virtual analyst or an AI in some manner to confirm or make your trading decisions. This is happening now, and that's what Adam is talking about. These are table stakes. You still may not make a ton of money using it, but you will definitely not make as much if you are not. So finishing the overview before I step into the technology again, this is who we're providing our analytics to currently, everything from hedge funds to wealth managers to, again, the self-directed investor. That's what it means to provide AI as a service. These are some of our current partners with whom we work with to provide the technology. I will mention that some companies like E-Trade and Scottrade, who have been longtime partners, and TD Ameritrade, use the versions of our technology before the AI. As I mentioned, the AI is only about 2 years old. But in various degrees, we work with these partners to help improve the decisions of their clients, of their customers, using Trade Ideas analytics. Okay. So I'm going to step for a moment. I'm going to move to my other computer where I have Trade Ideas running. Hopefully this goes as smoothly as possible. Okay, so what I'm showing now is Trade Ideas and the Holly app and the artificial intelligence. And what you're seeing actually here is something that just popped up, which is a recap of all of the price alerts that I'm able to set within the Trade Ideas platform. I'm actually jumping ahead. I don't want to, so I'm going to cancel this I'm going to close this for a moment. I'll come back to it. Okay, this is similar to the information I showed before, but let me take a quick overview and again explain what you're seeing. On the left-hand side is Trade Ideas Netflix, if you will. This is what we call a channel bar, and through it you can view you have various perspectives on the market. I can choose, for instance, in the pre-market before the market opens, to watch the pre-market. I can see the market as interpreted by the social media, looking through the lens of what is talked about more on social media than usual versus less. I can look at swing ideas for ideas that last days and weeks. I can look at an options channel. Let's look at one of these, for instance. Let's look at swing ideas. When I click on the channel, the view changes, the layout changes, and it presents a new aspect of the market. Okay. When I tune into a new channel, I'm presented with, always usually at the top of the layout, you've got 3 charts, 2 to 3 charts. In this case, a 15-minute or 5-minute daily chart, a 5-minute chart, and a daily chart. And then on the far right, we have what the S&P is doing, as measured by the spots. Okay. So today we're having kind of a nice up day. What's also happening is when I tune into a particular channel, I don't have to start clicking. We have what we call idea surfing. And as soon as I move my mouse, the surfing stops. So it pauses. So as I start it, the system will run through the ideas within this universe and present the most interesting ones. Now here, there's only a few here. And if I find a particular idea, as soon as I move the mouse, the surfing stops, but I can click on a particular idea and see this is interpreted on the chart. And it'll show me when the alert occurred on the 5-minute and the daily. Now, if a particular chart is of interest, I can click on the heart here, and this is how I create my own symbol list by favoriting certain charts that I like. And now I'm engaging with the technology and saying, okay, this is an interesting chart. What do I do with this? Now, note, this is not the AI channel. This is a view of the market as interpreted by Trade Ideas as analytics. But it's serving up interesting ideas. It just doesn't have a full trading plan. What you are seeing here is various events that we're presenting. One's a resistance cross, another version of resistance cross, and here's an optimized resistance cross. It's just ways of looking at where stocks are for swing opportunities, right? We're in the swing ideas channel. What opportunities are likely to continue beyond today? Here's a nice potential that THS has to perhaps close this gap. And if that's something I think might happen, then I can set a particular price alert to notify me that yes, it's starting to, this is the signpost of where I can create a price alert, which I do by right-clicking and setting a certain amount, and say, I can provide a note that says, great, this is from the swing channel idea. If I can type, and I could say, buying opportunity. That might close the gap. So here's an idea that I've bookmarked. And if it reaches this threshold, it will produce what I showed you before. It will produce this price alert window that will pop up like this is done for NVNI. Let me reduce this again so we can see the chart. Right? This reached a certain price threshold for me, where I set the alert back in November 1st. It's a long strategy, and it was long. My alert was from above. This was a pullback opportunity. So an opportunity to say, look, it reached a resistance level. I'm sorry, a support level, and this might be a time to step back into the this stock. And when a particular chart, when a symbol has been traded before by the AI, you'll note that we notate this on its charts. And on a daily basis, this is the daily chart, you can see where the AI, this virtual analyst, has previously traded this stock. And this becomes very interesting to be in a symbol that has been looked over by the AI and to have been and has shown value in some way or another to the to this virtual analyst in the past. And so I make the call now to decide, this is pulled back, this is dissatisfied, this is the note that I had, this was a Holly idea, great. It's long, and I've been alerted from above. And with each idea that's presented, now I go back to the 5-minute chart on the left. We draw a smart stop and a profit target. The profit target is just off the chart up here, but here's the stop loss. So every idea has, we use a bit of AI logic to determine what is the smart stop for this idea should you enter the trade right now. And in this case, it's at this value of 27.31. So with every idea, whether it's produced by the AI or whether I'm looking at other aspects of the market through trade ideas analytics, I'm still provided a bit of logic and AIs to say, what are the parameters for making this trade a successful one? Well, here's the stop loss, and the profit target is a bit above the chart, which I can adjust. And we can see if I close this out or if I expand this. But again, these parameters are there, and they're meant to provide you with the guardrails for making a more confident decision. Let's step back into the AI. That's how the channel bar works on the far left. And again, this is the AI channel. We're presented with a similar series of charts, a 5-minute chart, a daily chart, what the S&P is doing. Again, another range-bound day, actually, as I look at this, SPY chart. Another very kind of narrow trading range day. And this is you can see going to the second row of information here. This is the Holly's P&L, which started off positive, dipped for a little bit during the early, late morning, noon hour, and then has since picked up over the day, using this regime of algorithms, of which there are two short and 8 long, so 10 strategies, 10 algorithms. This is again all of the trading plan parameters: a 60-minute hold, a 75-minute hold, Let me describe this again. All these ideas have an intraday timeline. They close at the end of the day. And going back to the performance, the P&L chart, we have two ways of looking at Holly's activity. One is with a risk-on lens and a risk-off. What risk-off means is if I went to the beach and I saw a red flag, I'd know not to go in the water with children or not to go in the water, period, for riptide hazards and the like. I know that the water's not quite safe. I know I need to be more conservative. And that's exactly what risk-off is. It's the indicator of if we view the market by taking every profit opportunity, not letting a profit turn into a loss, and getting out of trades on the conservative side, we're going to do better. Versus a risk on, which if I click here, I can switch to a risk on. And the P&L is also positive, but it's less than what the risk off profile is. And that's indicated again by, this is the risk on P&L, but if I go to the bottom, I can see which one is in effect. And the risk off flag, if you will, is in effect. Risk on simply means this is the kind of market where ideas can carry. They can carry over through the end of the day and perhaps beyond. As I look again at the S&P, what the chart is doing, I can understand why we're in a risk-off mode. We're in a very tight range for today, Friday, before holiday week. And so risk-off is the dominant, more profitable view of the ideas it's produced. Okay. We always provide, this is a single stock, this is an information window about each stock where you can look at the profile and you can see individual data points that the AI is looking at. It's part of the strategy. The bottom row is reserved for what positions are currently open. In this case, we have PEIX. I click on this, here's the chart. Okay, this is a long strategy from Mighty Mouse. Just I happen to know that Mighty Mouse looks at low-priced stocks that have an explosive kind of upward momentum potential. And then over to the left here, these are the closed trades from Holly's activity, with the risk-on profit versus the risk-off profit, what the profit was over the last 5 minutes. That's whether, even though you were out of the trade, has this continued or has this turned south? This is what the profit change over the last 5 minutes means. And then again, the exit reason. Okay. Let's look at it. We can look at another channel if we'd like. A popular channel during earnings is the earnings channel, which the earnings season is already almost over with, but again, we're meant to convey with each layout the best ideas from the derived data analysis that Trade Ideas is doing, augmented by charts. Again, if I stop the surfing here, augmented by, with each idea on the chart, where is the stop loss, where is the profit target for this idea? You can see that here on the daily chart. So we've got a profit target and a smart stop, and then the green here is where the stock currently is. If you can provide the parameters for making decision, we take the gut and the ego out of every opportunity that the market provides. And if you can add between that gut and the brain a virtual analyst who can help you see the market and give you the parameters if you made a decision, where the exits were and where the destination was, those are powerful and encourage. They provide a more confident decision that's not based on ego, but that's based on a plan. And you'll always know with a plan when you're on the path, and most importantly, when you go off the path. And that's the primary value what we provide. Data in order to make a confident decision based on insight, based on information. We don't stand in a desert anymore. Instead, from the data, we're able to get information. We're able to get knowledge. All right. Let me go, I'm going to also pull up some information here about trade ideas, and I'm going to point to our website for a moment. At least I think I am. I'm going to switch presenters to go back to my previous screen here. So trade-ideas.com is our website. Let me go to it right here. This is where I mentioned you can visit and get our trade of the week. On our homepage, so let me take a quick step back. It's not just about the technology at Trade Ideas. We offer, again, this actionable intelligence based on a virtual analyst's study of the market. And that is innovative technology in and of itself, for sure. But our offering as a subscription is more than just the technology. It's part of a three-legged stool. That's technology, of course, service and support, and then a sense of community. And let me describe what each of those means. The service and support around this technology, because we recognize that this is innovative and that using it takes a bit of time to get used to. And working with a virtual analyst like you would work with anyone else takes time to understand. And to help that process up the learning curve for using Trade Ideas, we have our service and world-class service and support. With every subscription, we provide an hour of power training, which is one-on-one training. And it's meant to say, after you've looked at the online resources that we have in the form of videos, in the form of documents and facts, and even webinars that we produce every week that are Q&A webinars meant to answer questions and showcase ways in which we're using the technology ourselves to our subscribers. You can also do this hour of power training where we get very specific about what are your goals and how do you look at the markets and how can we configure, outside of Holly, how can we configure the rest of the tool to your view of the market so you're comfortable recognizing the opportunities that you see and acting on them. We also have many events that we put out throughout the year. And these events are usually held in beautiful California, where our company's based, in Encinitas near San Diego. We just concluded one that was in October last month, where we feature speakers and we bring community and our subscribers together to learn. And the results of that are on our homepage. You can visit what are the highlights from our last summit and details on the next one that we're going to be organizing. And on our homepage, we also show the daily real-time performance of the AI each day. So each day we can see exactly what it's doing and how well it's performing. In this case, it's made 16 trades. It's at $1.07 in profit points versus the S&P, which is down 50 cents for today. So we're always showing how our performance is relative to the market. Okay. One of the things I want to make sure I hit and leave is a discount. And I'll leave you with the following. If you can take this down, it's the promo code for 15% off the first month of any of our packages, and the pricing is located right here, which I'll click to, is Fall into Alpha, F-A-L-L into I-N-T-O, Alpha, A-L-P-H-A, Fall into Alpha, all caps. It's a promo code I leave with you. If you want to try Trade Ideas, again, that's 15% off the first month or year, depending on which you choose. So we have two basic products. One is a standard, one is premium. Essentially, the premium is with the artificial intelligence channel. Standard is almost everything without the AI and a few other aspects. It's without the AI and without our back testing. But this is an excellent way to try the tool. For $99, you can see all the analytics that we're providing and all the other channels, get a feel. Let me mention one other thing. I talked about service and support. I'll leave my last comment with community. And I mentioned the events that we have where you can visit us throughout the year, but we also have a live trading room. And this is right from the website at the header, live trading room. You can also reach this from within the tool itself. But this is a trading room that has about 600 people or so daily in it. And some are swing traders, some are intraday traders. It's all moderated with a firm hand by Barry Einerson, who is our moderator for this room, who describes the technology both within Holly and outside of Holly, and keeps the conversation very much focused on the market opportunities. And it's very congenial. The result is a very congenial atmosphere where people are sharing ideas, sharing even in some cases their strategies that can be imported into trade ideas with ease. And it's a discussion about what is the technology producing in terms of ideas. And it's a free room. You can, that is an excellent way to experience the conversation, see how people are using the technology. And without even joining or subscribing, you can access this knowledge that's produced every day. And I encourage you to do so. I believe that's all the time I have left. I want to thank Renee for the opportunity to speak with you. And I hope that everyone enjoys the holiday week coming on and the weekend coming at us. It's time, as one of my mentors, Art Cashin, used to say, it's time to marinate some ice cubes. So thank you all for your time. And I hope to see you on Trade Ideas in the trading room on a future date.